everybody, and welcome. It's Kathleen from COZ Creations. I'm so glad you're here. You're gonna have to excuse my voice a little bit today. I've got a little bit of a cold left over from the holidays, but today's the first day I've been down here to paint and I have missed it. So I'm happy to be back in the no bra zone. Hey, a couple things I'd like to talk about before we get started. I've had a lot of people reach out with a few questions about things. So I wanted to share a few things with you and then we'll move on to our painting today. People ask me how I finish my art when it's done. Well, I wait several weeks and then sometimes I varnish it, sometimes I don't. I kind of like the look of a natural canvas, but almost always when I have a black base coat or there's a lot of black in my painting, I've yet to find a really good black that dries well. They usually dry a little bit dull. So to bring those colors back, I will varnish them. And I think I've tried spray varnishes, I've tried resin, I've tried all kinds of things, but my favorite varnish I think is the Liquitex. This is the satin varnish. I use this, I use the gloss, I use the high gloss. I stay away from the matte because it tends to make things a little bit dull. And there are so many really good videos out there to teach you how to utilize this varnish. I apply mine with a synthetic brush. I usually do at least 3 coats on it. But Heather Mader from Heather Mader's Art has a really good tutorial video on how to varnish, and so does Olga. She has a really good video. So I suggest you reach out to them, or of course reach out to me if I can answer your questions, I will. As far as finishing them, I always paper the back of them, and then my handy dandy handsome man Rick usually puts the wire on for me. I apply this with, I do it 2 ways. I use a double-sided tape, but I don't trust that to hold that well, so after I put the double-sided tape down and cut the paper to fit the back side of the canvas, I go in with like a little toothpick and I add some all-purpose glue just to give it some extra security. And then I also, my handy dandy handsome man, he's very talented in his workshop. He generally makes my frames for me, which I'm beyond grateful for, guys. They're absolutely lovely. He does them different ways. This is like a floating frame. But if you don't have a handy dandy handsome man at home, or if he's not real good at that kind of stuff, then I buy my floating frames from Jerry's Artorama. There's a series called Illusion that are really good for your canvases. Just make sure you check the sizes, because the first time I ordered them, I used the gallery wrap canvases, which are what, 1.5 inches in depth, either that or 1 3/4 inches. I think it's 1.5 inches. And the ones that I got delivered were for the staple back canvases. So I ended up having to use different canvases for those floating frames. But Jerry's Artorama, the Illusion series. What else? How do I mix? I don't want to spend the whole hour or so teaching you how I mix. I'm happy to do a video later down the road. Excuse me. But my dog's milk bone containers, this is where I mix my pouring mediums. I have certain lines on them that shows me how much Floetrol, how much Golden Gak 800. Today we're trying a new pouring medium that I'm kind of experimenting with. It's about, I'd say 60% Floetrol, 20% Golden Gak 800, and 20% of the Liquitex pouring medium, which I got gifted a very big gallon container of it. So I figured we'd give that a shot and see how it does. I also mix the paints that I use often, my base coats, my blacks, my whites, things of that sort, in these handy dandy containers that you get at Lowe's. I generally do half my paint and half my pouring medium and stir it up real good. The paints that I use for my swipes or my cloud pours or whatever it is I'm doing, I generally mix that day. So that's a little bit about what I do. If you have any other questions about things, reach out and I will certainly answer them. Today we are working on a gallery wrap 10 by 20 inch canvas. I wanted to go bigger, but I wanted a black base coat today. And when I go bigger than the 10 by 20, there's usually a lot of glare from the lights above me. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Our colors today are really, really fun. Let me grab them for you. Some of my faves. I'm hoping that this works out. I did a cloud pour yesterday with similar colors and it really looked real pretty. So we are using the DecoArt Metallics. This is the bronze antique, and I mixed with that the DecoArt Metallics Rich Espresso. Now when I mix two colors together, I generally put the colors in the cup, mix those two paints up, then I add my pouring medium. So that's how I do that. We're using, oh, I love these paints. I just ordered some more, the Chroma Molten Metals, and this is the Xanadu Gold. It's a really pretty gold. The DecoArt 24 karat is a really nice gold, but it's so bossy with the other colors that I'm a little more fond of this guy right here. I highly recommend you give these guys a try. They're very fluid, very creamy. DecoArt Metallics Teal, one of my favorite colors, but you guys hear me say that all the time. And then my very most favorite color, no kidding here guys, my golden iridescent pearl. It's not very often that I paint without this color in it. I absolutely love it. So they're all mixed up. Our pouring medium today is a little bit different. It's about 60% Floetrol, 20% Golden GAC 800, and 20% of the Liquitex pouring medium. And it's about 50% paint to 50% pouring medium. The DecoArt Metallics take a little bit more. I didn't put any water in any of these paints. I don't unless I absolutely have to if it's a really heavy body paint. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with this Yummy Pearl. Let's take that back again. I'm thinking that might be our swipe color. Well, let's go with this Espresso Brown. I hope you guys can hear me okay. My voice is very froggy and my microphone has this little fuzzy ball that goes on the top of it and I lost it. So I'm hoping I don't sound like I'm in a tin can. Let's go ahead and add this Molten Metals Gold. Almost has a coppery hue to it. I really like it. Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. I did. It was filled with so much love. A few glasses of wine. The youngins came, they play cards, and they're very competitive. Rick's girls and my daughter, extremely competitive, and they were doing a card game that if you don't get it right, you have to take a little baby shot. And it was low key. It was Fireball and apple juice. But it was so much fun to watch them, especially as the game went further down in the evening. But we had a great time. Here comes that Yummy Teal. I'm hoping these colors play well together. I dreamt them last night, so. There we go. I'm going to give this guy a little bit of a torch. They sure do look pretty down on that black base coat. Now, I don't think I mentioned I had already applied my base coat. It's just the Artist Loft Black, which is on sale at Michael's. It's buy one, get one, I think 75% off. Swiping tool of choice today is going to be two things. I'm going to use a damp paper towel that I have cut up in different size sections, and then we are also going to be using my handy dandy pieces of flexible plastic. It's an old report cover, guys, that I stole the cover of it and cut this guy. I've used the same cover since I started using this as a swiping tool a few months ago. Let's start off with our paper towel. I'm going to drop it right in that pearl color. And easy breezy across the canvas. Selling up a little bit. I was hoping for a little bit more of that teal color. Let's see if we can bring that up a little later. Oh, that pearl. It's so shimmery, guys. And look at it's selling up there real nice. Dip it down into that paint until you feel it kind of being feel it being absorbed up into the paper towel. And just a slow and easy drag. Look at those cells. That copper and that pearl really interacted nicely with each other. You know what? I'm going to grab a clean towel here. Boy, that'd be pretty. Now, when you're on your edge, guys, you want to have your paper towel hang over that edge a little bit and watch it, because if it gets heavy, it's going to pull your paper towel over the side of the canvas. That's why I've got my extra little fingers in here, helping it along. Voila. Boy, can you guys see those cells? Let me hit this once with my flexible plastic. I just want to see if this is going to give us the same reaction. Well, it is selling up a little bit. Not quite as much. Now remember, when I swipe, I tend to overlap the last swipe that I did. If not, you get a little kind of jiggly line down the middle. I'm going to go back to our paper towels, guys. I think it's given us a little bit of a better result. Let me just cut a nice piece off here. See how I'm overlapping? Now there's no silicone, guys, in my paints, and we're getting some major cell action. I think that might be from the Liquitex pouring medium that I added. Once again, 80% Floetrol, 20% GAC 800 by Golden, and 20% of the Liquitex pouring medium. I have it right here. Let me show it to you. There you go. This guy's really selling up. So if you want your cells, guys, Liquitex Professional Pouring Medium. And here's the Golden GAC 800. And I'm pretty sure you all know what the Floetrol looks like. So 80, 20, 20, excuse me, 60, 20, 20, 60, 70, yeah, that adds up to 100. I'm sorry guys, I've been a little bit under the weather. Now I've kind of lost my pearl in there, so let's go ahead and put a little bit of that back because I like the way that pearl is reacting. Now we can do this two ways. We can just put it down there, or we could lay it out here on our little pee-pee pad and dip our paper towel into it. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit back in here. There we go. Dip that into your swipe color of choice, overlap both sides, and bring it down towards you. Voila. Now we've lost our pearl over here, but that's okay. I'm going to see what we get by dragging that espresso brown down. Boy, that guy, these are really selling up nice. I think it's that Liquitex. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with cells. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. It's pretty. I like those black legs, I call them. I'm a little disappointed we're not getting more of that teal. But lessons learned. Remember to support the side of the paper towel that's hanging off the edge of the canvas, because as it fills with the weight of the paint, it'll tend to drag it down and you'll lose your nice straight line. That's kind of pretty, guys. Let's torch it. I'm a little scared. These cells are going to explode on us. There we go. Boy, that teal and copper really play nice together. Sometimes when you torch, it brings up the bottom colors a little bit more. Like right there, you can see the teal coming up. Kind of interesting. I'm not that much of a fan over here. It's got a little bit more brown going on than I like, so let's go ahead and let's give that a little bit more of a swipe. Let me see, what do we want to bring up? Let's try this. I'm going to take that rose gold gold color, and I'm going to put a little bit right down here in front of me. And instead of laying it down on my swipe line, I'm just going to dip my damp paper towel a little bit into that gold. Can you see that, guys? I'm going to apply it right in the middle of my swipe line. Kind of jiggle it down there a little bit. And let's see what that gives us. ahead and do that again. Let's do it right over here. I'm also going to grab a little bit of that pearl. See if I can get some pearl legs going on. There they are. Don't be afraid to swipe twice, guys. Sometimes it brings up a whole new interest. Now, I like the jaggedness of the pearl line in there, but I don't like the way it stops right there. So let's go ahead and just kind of dab a little bit in there. We haven't used a lot of paint, guys, so you can add some interest back in without tilting. And part of the reason is, if you've watched my videos before, when I put down my base coat, after I apply it, I put some stacked paper towels on the back side and I let any excess paint run off. And you know how little paint we use when we put it down in our swipe lines. So let's go ahead and do this right over here as well. And you know what else I like? I like this this black that's going through here. So I don't have any of my black because it's in the big container. So I'm just going to take my popsicle stick and I'm going to dip it right down here in my drippings. And we're going to use those drippings. Make sure you wipe your stick off when you're done, because you'll get some of the other colors that were in your swipe line. Gosh, I love these black legs. Let's go ahead and kind of fiddle with that a little bit. And then you know what else I'm going to do? I might have a little bit of excess paint along that swipe line, and I'm going to tilt my canvas just to see how much movement I get, which means my center line is probably going to get a bit of an arc to it, but sometimes that works out really good. Let's see what this does. Well, there's not that much movement. I'm still going to let it slide down a little bit. Here we go. I like jaggeding that up a little bit. Okay, let's give this guy another torch, and then I think I'm done with you. I'll stare at it for a while, maybe play a little bit with it, and I promise, as always, I'll show you the dry results at the end of the video. This is a really pretty color combination, guys. Browns and teals and coppery golds against black. I like it. I'm so glad you guys joined me. I'm wishing you a perfect day. Happy New Year to come. Let's make 2020 the best year ever. I'm excited about it. Happy painting to y'all. Thanks for joining me. Bye now.